What's up, guys? Back with me, and unfortunately, me only tonight. The rest of our guys are out of town, so I'm going to keep it a little short and sweet, recapping week 8. It's a little different not having the rest of the crew on. Chatbox seems dead, so I'm going to fly solo. Uh, let's see. Breaking news. We had a big time week 8. If people weren't around and you're watching the show now, we had uh, the Bills have returned since week 8 going into week 9. The Rams left. The Rams come back. The Bills being Keller. And then we had the rage quit of Freak Skull against the Raiders and a 2-week suspension for Freak. So big time news. A lot going on. But one of my games of the week happened. The Browns versus the Cardinals. The Browns ended up coming out on top 24-10 to break the 7-game losing streak, leaving the 0-8 Lions, who fell to Kansas City by 6, and the Redskins, who were on the bye. Both are winless. We'll get back to them later in the show. But to cap on the Lions losing by 6, they had a great game. Just offensively couldn't get it together and allowed a lot of yards to keep such a low-scoring team at bay. Alex Smith with 252 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Jamal Charles breaks 116 again, followed by 60 yards from the backups. Stafford 135 in the air and Abdullah 67 on the ground. You can't get it together whenever you're facing a team that doesn't throw any interceptions, no turnovers. So that hurts for the team. The Lions were in reach. I think if they would have had a bigger game by Stafford, they probably could have won that game. But things happen. So my computer is being a little weird tonight. I probably need to reset it. So it's going to be a little screen jumping going on. We are. I apologize for the screen jumping, but for some reason it's not wanting to cooperate. All right, so we're back in. The Patriots squeezed by the Dolphins, who are struggling lately. That was a 1-point victory there. Raiders continue dominating at 7-0, winning 38-14 over the Jets. Cowboys still sitting at 5-2 versus Seahawks 31-14. The big key game of the week, I think, in my opinion, was the Falconeers and Buccaneers. Falconeers, I'm going to get made fun of that one, but the Falcons versus the Buccaneers. They did seem to win 62-13, but the Falcons were winning, and there was a lot of discussion on what was going to happen. Falcons win no matter what here. Proved to 8-0 on the season, beating a divisional rival. And the Titans pull one out in what we thought would be the Texans' rebound week. 28-34, Titans win. Packers roll over the 5-1 Broncos to fall to 5-2, while the Packers stay at 6-1. Scored a 41-38. That was Brenton's game of the week. The Giants somehow are winning still, surprisingly not by the sim, beating raunchy Saints 31-28. The Steelers fall to a divisional rival, the Bengals, 21-17. And the 49ers over the Rams in a close game and that went into overtime, 34-31. So we will go look at current standings going into week 8. Of course, these are going to be fluctuated by a few games due to a few teams playing week 9 already. The New England Patriots still sit atop their division at 5-2. But the resurgent Bills could come back after picking up a win in week 8. They're not out of the playoffs yet, but it's a long road ahead for the Buffalo Bills and Keller. Oakland Raiders still sit at top of the AFC West at 7-0, followed by the Chiefs and Broncos, both with 2 losses. Next up, AFC North, Baltimore Ravens 6-2, followed by the 4-3 Bengals. Tennessee Titans still haven't convinced me that they're going to win the division at 7-1, but sitting at 5-2 behind them is Jacksonville Jaguars. One loss separates the teams. It's going to be a tough division for them to fight it out all the way to the end. Heading to the NFC East, the Cowboys sit atop 5-2, followed by the Giants, who are 5-3. We'll say the Cowboys have won their Week 9 games, so they're sitting at 6-2 currently. The 49ers in the NFC West are leading the division 4-4, followed by the Cardinals at 4-4, followed by the Rams at 3-4, and the Seahawks at 3-5. That's really anybody's division still. That it's going to come down to who can play the games in the crunch and win. Cardinals got a new owner. Rams stick with Ron. Seahawks new owner. San Francisco new owner. So it's going to be hard to say who's going to start taking that division over, but it's anybody's game right now. And a pretty locked up division, in my opinion. The Green Bay Packers sit at top 6-1. Minnesota's close at 3-4, but there's a big time point differential down in that division. So it's going to be hard to see any of them teams step it up and move up the rankings. The NFC South still being dominated by Atlanta at 8-0, followed by the 5-2 Panthers and the 4-3 Buccaneers. So today, if the playoffs were to start, we will look at that when Daddy Leagues loads. You would have in the NFC Atlanta, Green Bay, Dallas, San Francisco, Carolina, and New York Giants. Sitting in the AFC, the Raiders, Titans, Ravens, Patriots, Chiefs, and Broncos, all of which the bubble teams are still staying within close reach. It's going to be a tough say for whoever's in the bubble right now. We're halfway past this season mark. So everybody's got that are on the bubble have to take their chances to win games here. And the teams that are locked up, they can't afford to lose. So it's anybody's game still in the divisional races that are close. I'll give out a quick power rankings, in my opinion. Falcons, Raiders still toss up of who should be the top team. I think Falcons with a more impressive win in my book right now against the Buccaneers. Instead of, the Raiders did beat the Jets soundly, but I think I have to give it to the Falcons again this week, followed by a close race at number 2, Oakland. I think Packers' big win over the Broncos is going to put them over the top at 3, followed by, I'd say, the Titans at 4, and anybody's game at number 5. I think, there's a handful of teams, but I think Falcons, Raiders, Packers, Titans lock up the top 4. So we will move on to my next part that I was going to get at, and I've completely forgot. We'll go to look at stats. While it's loading. All right, so we'll look at team stats real quick. Baltimore Ravens still lead the league in offense, followed by the Titans and the Cowboys. Defensively, the Falcons sit at top, followed by the Green Bay Packers and Oakland Raiders. Still an interesting note, the Packers at 23.6 rushing yards per game. That's big-time numbers. We will actually go look at their rushing yards allowed in the Denver game. Oh, page not found. What do you know? Bear with me. I know y'all are watching this. If I only had 2 screens like I had at work, this would make everything easier. Only 20 rushing yards allowed to the Broncos, which, give it Broncos credit. They threw 32 times and only rushed. It looks like a total of 13 rushes. To only allow 20 yards and 13 rushes is a statement, Packers' run defense has been solid the whole season, and I do not see them letting it up. Brett Hundley for the Packers actually come in and rushed the ball twice for 54 yards. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers had went down at one point. He put a few rushes in until he come back in. I don't know. But Aaron Rodgers, 338 yards, 4 touchdowns in the game. Still, all the while, Packers are playing a great run defense. So anybody listening, looking into the Packers, plan for them having a solid run. Joe Flacco still leading the league at 28.58 yards, but Drew Brees coming up real close on him now at 27.08. I said Brees would have a good chance of possibly winning the MVP award, and then I actually had Jameis Winston picked, but Winston has fallen out of the top 5 passing yards. So we'll see if Winston can bounce back ahead. And, I know that sim to win loss hurt Winston, but I think Coach can bring him back in to the top 5. Latavius Murray is now trailing actually leading by about 26 yards on Lachey Seastrunk. They're soundly ahead by 100-plus yards of anybody else in rushing. A.J. Green topped the charts, 988 receiving yards, followed by Vernon Davis and Brashard Perryman and Demaryius Thomas, all within 100 yards reach. Looking defensively, 41 tackles for the T.J. Ward at Denver. Dick Beasley still leads the sacks at 13. And Jason McCourty, 6 interceptions, tied with Xavier Rhodes at Minnesota at 6 interceptions. Top rookies right now, I can tell you right now, it's Ajala and Perryman, Winston, Mariota. The typical, Melvin Gordon leads the rookies in rushing yards, followed by Amir Abdullah. Vic Beasley again, sacks, rookie leader, normal leader. Jamichael McElroy, 38 tackles, leading the rookies. And interceptions, Magario Beatty for interceptions at Atlanta. So that about sums that up. I know I'm flying through everything. Y'all aren't used to this. We'll look into Week 9 game of the week for my picks. The Bills have already played. The Titans beat the Saints. Do the Redskins come in and get their first win against the Patriots? I'm going to say no in a very close game, but I think Patriots' home field advantage wins them that game. I think the Rams bounce back and beat the Vikings. I would say the Raiders over the Steelers in a very close game. I will go back and check their first game, but I do believe it was a close first game when they played. No, I'm confused. That was the Broncos and Raiders. I still think the Raiders will beat the Steelers just due to rage quit. So, yeah, it's a long day. I think the Packers over the Panthers, stopping them. I just see that happening. Jaguars over the Jets. I think the Buccaneers will roll the Giants this week, bounce back off their loss. Falcons are going to continue to roll. I think they're going to go 9-0. Eagles lost to the Cowboys. Bengals should beat the Browns. I would say Bengals over Browns. Broncos over Colts. And last but not least, I don't know, Bears and Chargers. That's anybody's game. But I would say my game of the week would have to go to from the teams that I'd say game of the week is probably going to be the Giants and the Buccaneers, in my opinion. The Buccaneers have to rebound off their loss, while the Giants are gaining momentum after winning, I believe, 2 of the past 3 games. One by sim, but Fockers beat 2 solid opponents over the past few weeks. So I think that if he can keep his mistakes limited, I think he can make the upset and continue his run and trying to make the division leaders Stat-wise, Falker's offensively going to be in trouble against the Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers allow too many points, though, other than their last, it's a little inflated coming off their last game. But I would say Buccaneers win this in a close one. I'm going to say 42-28. That's going to be my prediction. So that being said, Danny, I don't know if he'll be back Thursday. If not, Brenton should be back Thursday, and we should have a full show going back for Week 9 recap. So thanks for the ones that have listened, and I will see y'all Thursday.